I'm reading stories from the Wolston Park Hospital Review. These are the words of the survivors, families and friends. Some of these stories contain warnings for institutional abuse. This is participant 4, patient. I was in Wolston Park for 9 months after being wrongfully placed by the state in the Winston Noble Unit Chermside for 3 months with no identifiable mental illness. Not only that, I was a ward of the state of Queensland and should never have been there. My adopted mother had an early onset of pre-senile dementia when I was about 7 or 8, and she was sent to Wolston Park. My foster parents took me out there to see her before she died when I was 10. When I saw her, she was restrained to a wheelchair. As a young boy, it was very distressing for me to see her like that. I went from a forced adoptee to a horribly abusive adoption home, my stepbrother's foster care, 4 boys' homes. Then I was dismissed by a child safety worker when I was 15 years old, left to fend for myself on the streets of Brisbane. Many of us wards of the state and others had had other abuses done in other institutions and settings. It was not uncommon. I was in Wolston Park from 1985 to 86, a real life hellhole full of abusive and criminal activity by staff and patients alike. I can't not believe that the staff who were not involved knew about it. Therefore, I see them as just as bad. Even though some spoke out, I believe it has been the exception and not the rule. My lived experiences, which were many at Wolston Park, were of the worst kind. I was subjected to, but limited to, multiple sexual abuses, acts of violence. I had a razor blade held to my throat at the morning shower time and was threatened by a guy who was transferred from a secure forensic ward to a locked ward I was in, whilst at the same time I witnessed 2 nurses bashing an elderly gentleman. I always wondered why the older guy was covered in bruises. The drug abuse and medication given to me as a boy by the staff were illegal and horrendous. I was a medication guinea pig with drugs that are not used and banned in the doses I had today. Sometimes forced and dragged into a seclusion room and injected after being beaten. Once stripped of my clothes, no food, no toilet, no bed and lights piercing my eyes on awakening. I was dragged once into the lounge in that same room after being medicated the night before, and my blood pressure was still dangerously low that afternoon. My body would twist and contort with side effects, and the staff mocked me willingly and knowingly. I was not always given the required medication to stop it. I was tortured. I saw a guy hanging himself as I entered a toilet facility, and he got sent to a more secure ward. I was warned and threatened by 2 nurses particularly that I will experience Pierce House, a criminally insane ward, soon. One day, I was asked to go to Pierce House, a forensic ward, to visit a nurse, and I was in there for an hour or so, and it scared me to no end. There was a particular ward dedicated to drug experimenting, and I was at one stage going to be sent there. A friend of mine was in there. I visited him, and it was frightening. He came out worse than I could imagine. He drowned in a pond at Wolston Park. In the open wards, I was constantly around the criminally insane, subjected to violent and psychotic men and women with behaviours that were outrageous. Fighting, screaming, threatening, and highly destructive in a dining room. I sat opposite a guy who had shot himself in the face, and a guy who had cut off his own leg was dancing with manic psychosis on a table, banging his wooden leg down to a loud stereo he had at breakfast time. I was chased and threatened with a knife by a patient. My experiences were many and varied. This man shouldn't have been there. He was from another ward, and it was not safe for me to be around him. How so much evil exists is beyond me, yet the whole place was a cesspool of abuse at the hands of a hospital or asylum which was supposed to look after us. It makes me sick and angry about what I went through, and thousands of others, including children. The residual psychological damage for me has been immense, and I live with the memories of many illegal and inhumane acts done to me in the name of medicine. Shame on Queensland as the dark history of Wolston Park is more and more exposed. Yet it was the norm at Wolston Park Hospital Complex, which is the saddest and biggest indictment on Queensland health I can think of. Although I received a reconciliation plan, a validation set up by Queensland Health, which was advocated for and by some of the bravest survivors I have ever met with the help of professionals, no amount of money, nor apologies can change or ease the ongoing pain which was forced upon me at no fault of my own. And what about everyone else who was so wrongfully treated in Wolston Park? Where is their justice? Do they not deserve the dignity and respect also to help right their wrongs? Recognition is important and reconciliation is needed for them as well. I believe this inquiry should have been a royal commission and been advertised on mainstream media, as potentially thousands of former patients, staff, carers and family members need the acknowledgement and given to them as they have suffered as well. In my honest opinion, this inquiry has failed because of these very facts. There is truth, and then there is the fruits of the truth, which hasn't been nearly achieved or completed when it comes to the glaring injustices done at Wolston Park. I hope it can be, and one day soon. Please contact Lotus Place on 0733478500 if you're reading this and you are under state care and in Wolston Park or any other adult facility in Queensland for help to apply for the reconciliation plan. You may be eligible to be validated by Queensland Health. Importantly for me, very brave nurses who I will never forget put their job on the line knowing of my situation and helped me get out of Wolston Park. Thank you. Those who forget their past are condemned to repeat it. Quoted by George Santayana, The Reason of Life, 1902. Let us never forget so this doesn't happen again, ever. Finally, I fear the lack of historical knowledge has been lost and kept in a dark closet. Rather, it needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Unfortunately, it's still happening today, as I can see from the CCC investigation into Wacol currently. Written by a survivor, advocate and truth teller.